Welcome to episode 6 of True Stories to Tell in the Dark. I'm your host, Rudy III. Today I have a classic international Reddit story for you. Moonlight Motel. Hope you enjoy. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, comment, and tell a friend. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Insomniac City. Shop at our store at shop.spreadshirt.com/Insomniac City. Thanks for watching. Catch you at the end of the episode. Moonlight Motel. This encounter takes place several years ago in a remote part of the Australian outback. For a bit of background, I'm a pretty built 6'2" dude and was around 26 years old at the time. Now on to the story. I was on a road trip with a friend, traveling around the central Queensland outback in my old semi-reliable Nissan X-Trail. We're both science and zoology nerds, and I'd heard about this amazing dinosaur trail out this way. Basically, it's a grouping of 3 areas that have had previous dinosaur bone discoveries. They still have fossils as well, and a seriously awesome dinosaur track with preserved foot imprints. We were staying at a place 3 hours from Winton for a couple days, and we're pretty keen to check out this trail. So we made the decision to do the 6-hour round trip in a day. We were pretty ambitious and stupid back then. We left at 9 a.m. the next morning. Car packed with lunch, several liters of water, and my trusty GPS. Off we went. It was a long drive, and halfway through my air conditioning decided to take a shit. If any of you have lived or visited Australia in the summer, you would know it's brutally hot. So I'm sure you can imagine the 3-hour trip there without air conditioning. The eventuality of the 6-hour round trip was truly hell. To make matters worse, my GPS also stopped working, as the map software didn't recognize the area. Luckily, I had an old Refidex in my back seat, but it was pretty tough to revert to map reading when you're used to a computer screen telling you where to go, especially given we're talking the Australian outback here, complete with dirt tracks for roads and very limited signage. But I digress. Finally, we make it to the trail and kick around there for a few hours. Not gonna lie, it was pretty awesome. Then decided to make the trip back as it was starting to get later in the afternoon, and we didn't want to be driving back in the dark. As we're about to leave, this crazy old guy, who appeared to be an employee of the trail company, dressed all in khaki camouflage gear, asked us about where we were from and where we were heading. He gave me the stink eye when I was vague with the details, but my mate told him the name of the town we were staying. He took a real liking to my mate, and he laughed when we told him about our legendary journey in. Apparently, we had taken the long route, and there was a much quicker way back that would shave off about an hour of our trip. We jumped at the directions he gave us. Ain't nobody got time for an extra hour in an air-conditionless oven. All directions were verbal, which we wrote down. Off we went on our merry way, thinking how lucky we were to have met this old dude. He gave us some sweet intel on a shortcut home. But I can't deny there was definitely a creepy vibe about him. Based on the directions he gave us, we went winding along several roads in an area I had never been in, and eventually settled straight on this narrow dirt road. We were supposed to reach an intersection after about a half hour, take a right and continue on that road until we got to the main highway that would take us back. After an hour and a half of driving on this dirt trail, though, we still hadn't reached this intersection. I was starting to freak out a bit. thinking we'd missed the turn, but my mate was completely chilled out and was sure we'd get there eventually. I think he thought I was driving too slowly, but there are kangaroos out there, man. Those things are seriously dangerous if you hit one. We had been traveling for a while now. It was getting later and later in the day, and it got to the point where the petrol in the tank was only about a quarter full. There were no houses or other roads or cars in sight, and I was really not comfortable with where this was headed. The middle of nowhere, in a remote area in the wasteland that is the Australian outback. There weren't even any trees. Only this dirt, desolate road, dry brushland, as far as the eye can see. I stopped the car and tell my mate to get the binoculars out of the back, to take a look around and see if we can see a landmark. Yes, I carried binoculars in my car, and I still do. He obliges, and can just make out a house-like structure not too far in the distance. We made the decision to head for that. We figured it could be a house, and maybe the people would be nice enough to give us some petrol to top us up, and some better directions out of there. As we neared this structure, it became apparent that it was not a house at all. We pulled up out front and see that it's an old caravan that had been burned to a shell. It's still got 3 blackened partial walls up though, so we can't see all the way in, and it looks like someone's been there recently, because there are animal bones strung up all over the place, and a cow skull at the entrance. Some of the animal bone things even have grass or horsehair woven into them, and they were arranged like decorations. Then we see this hand-painted sign that's been staked into the ground with the words, Moonlight Motel, on it. My alarm bells are ringing loud and clear. I nudge my friend and say, let's get the fuck out of here. But he's distracted by something in the distance. It's a car, coming in the direction we had just come from. Had to have been only 10 minutes behind us the entire time we were driving, but I didn't see it once. It's kicking up a ton of dust, which indicates that it's coming towards us very quickly. It is at this point that we both hear this creepy scratching sound coming from out the burned caravan, like someone is scratching at the wall from the inside. I move a little closer to try and see what it is, and there is a person in there peeking out at us from a hole in the damaged wall. Then this childlike voice, that is obviously a grown man imitating a little girl, giggles and says, Are you here to play with me? My mate and I both look at each other and book it the fuck out of there. Back to the inner sanctum of the X-Trail. Just as I'm about to reverse out, the other car stops just behind my car with the high beams on. I can't see the driver, but they're in my way, so I can't reverse out of there from where I'm stationed. I have no choice but to drive forward and turn that way, narrowly missing the staked motel sign. As we're turning to leave, the driver starts blaring the horn, just hammering it for no reason at all. I just speed off back in the direction we came, and the other car doesn't follow. It's getting twilight at this stage and pretty dangerous to be out on these country roads once it's dark, because of the kangaroo situation, but we're feeling a bit better as we manage to navigate our way back to where we came from, the dinosaur trail, and even start to joke about what happened. The person in the other car was probably just honking at us to get our attention, to help with directions or something. I pull into the parking lot and go to the front desk area of the company that runs the tours. I explain that we had gotten lost on our way back to the town we were staying at, and the lady was kind enough to just give us enough gas to get back. I couldn't help myself and mentioned to her that her workmate is a real jerk for giving us those weird directions. We figured that there was no way we messed up the advice he had given us. She gives me a weird look and asks me to describe the guy. I do. and her face goes funny, and she says, "That man does not work here. I saw him talking to the tourists today, and my boss had to ask him to leave. He kept trying to get the details of where people were staying, and telling him that he had vacancies at his place, and they could stay there. The Moonlight Motel." Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to episode 6 of True Stories to Tell in the Dark. Like I said in the last episode, I'm probably going to be doing these classic Reddit stories for a few weeks, just because they're a little bit longer, a little bit more well written, and it's easier for me to get the content out to you guys more quickly. I just wanted to apologize and say why I didn't upload any videos in the last week. Well, I had gotten sick at one point, and my voice was shot, and I mean that's like the whole episode is my voice, right? And then my parents and sister were on vacation from work, so there was constant noise going on in the house, and I couldn't really get a record session in to be able to record without sounds and stuff going on in the background. So I was periodically recording this episode while the house was empty and stuff. Anyway, I don't want to talk your guys' ear off. I was just trying to explain it to you because you deserve an explanation if you were waiting for something to come out. Anyways, guys, just you know the drill. I'm not going to bore you with the like, subscribe stuff. Thank you. Expect regular episodes again. Everybody's back at work, so I'll be able to work on the stuff daily. Love y'all. See ya. Don't be afraid. It's just the dark.